the reason I did decide I would do this is when I realized that it was videos like this that were the only thing that I had back then to make me understand what was going on, because nobody that I know, even now, nobody I know believes this stuff. I mean,
Hi, you're watching NDE Talk, and I'm Natalie Higgins. Today's guest, Jimi, joins us to share his spiritually transformative experiences as well as his brush with death during his car accident. Stick through to the end, guys, because there is so many things he shares with us that I cannot put into words for this introduction. So without further ado, I bring you Jimi.
all right. Well, the first thing that I can remember happening was that that dream I had where I saved my life. Um, if you want to hear about that one.
Yeah, go from the beginning.
All right. So I was in upstate New York, up near Canada, at a friend's house, and I was visiting, and I go to bed that night, and I locked the door and everything because they had a nursery in their house where they took care of little kids. So I locked the door so no kids came in. And so that night I had this dream where I fell off the second floor of what I thought was a mall, like a mall where you shop a mall. So from there, I'm laying on my back and I'm looking straight up, and there's this glass atrium window where you can see up into the sky. And I'm laying there, and these three orbs come down through the glass, right? And as soon as they come down and they touch me on my forehead, I wake up. And when I wake up, I'm laying in bed. I could never sleep on my back. But at this point, I'm laying on my back with my hands folded on my chest like I'm in a coffin, you know? And all the blankets on the two sides in the front were tucked in between the box spring and the mattress, like as tight as they could get. And I took me like 5 minutes to get out of this thing, right? I don't even to this day know how that happened. The psychic told me like I energetically did this so that I would remember it. So anyway, I don't say nothing. About 5 years later, I'm in North Jersey, about 3 hours from my house, and I've been working on this mausoleum for about a week. And all of a sudden they come over, Jim, I need you to come over here and do something. So as I'm walking up to the spot, I immediately recognize all of it from the dream. I mean, everything. I go walking up there, and they wanted me to do this ceiling right next to where it would have dropped off an opening from the second to the first floor on the concrete. And the union job, no railings or nothing, which is unheard of. Like they don't. And then when I asked them to put them in, they refused to put them in. Safety device. You know, I've never had that in 20 years. So I'm sitting there and just like, I quit. They're like, what? I says, yeah. I says, I'm not doing this. I'm out
Yeah.
of here. I walked back to my friend and I says, yeah, listen, I quit. I says, give me because we drove together. I says, I'll go sit in the car till you're done. He says, no, I'll take you home. And he went and got my check and we went home. And years later, I asked him, I said, why didn't you ever like complain about, losing money and leaving a job? He said, dude, I've never seen you look that scared in your life. He said, what the hell happened? He goes, I went up and asked him if they had attacked you or if something happened or what. And he says, no. And I never explained to him what happened, but that's basically that, you know. Yeah.
Wow.
So for whatever reason, I, foresaw my own death and was able to avoid it. Yeah.
Have you ever had any other experiences like this where you've seen things happen before they happen and sort of pieced them together?
Yeah. Yeah. I had, well, yeah, I would always notice it after the fact or just as it's happening.
Yeah.
But one time I did know it. I was on usually what happened on I was in construction, so different jobs. I knew I was never there before, but I knew that I was. And sure enough, I'm there, and I recognized this was going down. And I said, well, this guy over here is going to say something, and the guy from behind me is going to walk up and start saying, and boom, just like it would have happened. It just started happening. And then,
Can I
you know,
ask, is it
that
like a
was
knowing? What do you get? A vision, a dream, a daydream? How do you know?
it, it is just a knowing. There's no way to
Yeah.
prove any of this stuff. You just know it. It's like,
Like a memory,
you
like just a
know, it's
memory
like,
that, yeah.
yeah, it's a feeling that you can't escape. Like, it's like, for example, like, somebody saying, how do you explain you love your child? You just do. And then
Yeah, that's a great
it's
example.
just,
Yeah.
it's just in there, and there's no denying it, because I've went and had Reiki sessions, I've had past life regressions, all this, and everything, the thing I've learned the most about it was that my instincts and my on what was happening were usually right. They're usually
Yeah.
just, dead on. That would be
Yeah.
my suggestion to people. If you feel something, just, everybody's different. That's for you to
I
decide.
think I might add in there. So I don't know if you've done anything like this, but and the viewers as well. I do these sort of spiritual practices, like I'll meditate and a few other things. But lately I've been doing this, that voice in your head that says, don't eat this or put that back or, keep
Yeah.
walking. I've actually
Yeah, it's
been
your higher self.
learning. Yeah, I actually have been listening to that on purpose. So if I'm about to go grab
Yeah.
non-gluten-free biscuits because I'm supposed to be gluten-free, I'll listen to that and say, okay, put it back. Don't eat that. I'll put it back. And then I feel like that week was really good.
Yeah.
And
That
sometimes I
that's
forget,
amazing.
right? I feel like those little things to practice these spiritual practices, I guess, can
Hmm.
probably open up your intuition a little bit better, I think. I'm not a
Yeah,
psychic or
absolutely.
anything. I just enjoy practicing this and understanding me and you know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah. I was told I was. I was told that I was doing things like psychically, like before I knew it, biasing. Um,
Yeah.
I was making my cars run. He's like, you've been making your cars run by willingness. I said, yeah, I had one car that had for 2 years, had no water running through the car and no coolant in it, but never
Yeah.
overheated. I had another one that had a transmission that blew. The guy told me that thing should have blown 100,000 miles ago. And he says it just kept running. And later I found out I was willing this to happen.
I was
And this is
going to
something that
say,
they say everybody can do this. It's dormant in us. It's a
yeah.
natural ability that's dormant.
Yeah, that's
So,
incredible. Thank you for sharing that with us. That's gonna make
yeah.
me just my brain will not stop now that I know that. I'll drive my
Yeah.
car and
Well,
start.
they also tell you, like, if like what worked for me, um, because I do a lot of gardening and stuff like this, was I started talking to trees. Okay. I
Yeah.
started like trying to communicate with them. They say that's the best way to start, like telepathically, talking to trees and stuff. And from there, it took a few months, but I literally had squirrels come up and nibble on my feet, like look at me and nibble on my feet and walk around like multiple times. I've sat there. It's gonna sound crazy, but I've sat there and talked to dragonflies. Okay.
Wow.
Literally, I was able to touch them and pet them. Like I would tell them first, listen, I'm here to be a friend, and and I was able to pet their wings, and then I would get up and say, hey, listen, it's hot outside. I'm going in, and the thing would shake its head and fly off.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, now I know how that would sound to most people. If I told that to my doctor, I'd be in a hospital, in a padded room or
I'm
something.
taking it in. I love this. I live for this.
So now my suggestion is to, if that's what you want, is to start with outdoors, and you walk bare feet to ground yourself to the earth. You can
Yeah.
release a lot of tension and stuff like that, and negative energy into the earth.
Yeah, I find if I'm
by
having a bad
grounding.
day, I really do find that walking in the sun, wherever it is, even if it's on your front lawn or in your backyard, just being out there, your thought changes. Just look around, look at
Yeah,
the trees, look at like it really does work. And I do this quite a bit.
yeah. It does calm people down. I mean,
Mm,
that's you see these guys that are in jail that they never see the sun at all, and you see
yeah.
how they act. They're going nuts. I mean, people
Yeah,
aren't
right.
meant for that. They're not meant
Yeah.
to be isolated or out of the sun.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing with us your car accident and what happened and leading up to the accident and the near-death experience?
Yeah. Okay. So I'd say so. I'll tell you what happened with that bean. That bean, that dark bean, came before all this. Um, so in 2010, it was the summer. I had my brother just got married. I came home, and that day, a friend of mine asked me to go to a concert. Right, and at the concert, all I can say is I met the wrong girl. Okay, so she asked to come home, and I don't know for whatever reason. I usually never. I probably the only time in my life I ever did this, and she comes home, and about it was exactly 3 in the morning because this happened both times at 3 in the morning. Um, Coming out of the shower, and I catch her about to. I didn't know she was on these drugs. Well, she's about to stick a needle in her arm, right? She's got a
Mm,
spoon doing all that stuff, and that's not something that I was ever a part of and don't want to be
yeah.
a part of. Right?
Yeah.
Not that I'm ignorant of drugs. I just crossed the line, put a line there. And it's 3 in the morning, so I'm just like, do whatever you're going to do. If it was daytime, you'd be walking home. But the second that she did this, she's sitting next to me on my living room couch on the right. Over to my left, on top of the front door, on the top corner, this flickering starts, right? And then like a storm, like when the rain clouds come in and they just turn everything dark, you can see that line come across, and then
Yeah.
boom, it just came across and engulfed the whole room. And even though the lights were on, I'm in darkness. I could barely see like a little like flame coming out of the lights. And I'm sitting there knowing I'm in the room with Eva. I just that feeling again. So all of a sudden, like a minute later, this girl starts to wake up, and then the lights come back on. And the next day, I took her to the bus station and never heard from that again. But about a few years later, I get into not the big car accident, but another one, and I got addicted to. It took about a year or so, but I got addicted to painkillers. Long story short. So one night, I'm sleeping on the same couch. I wake up. I mean, I was in a coma of a sleep, and I wake up like I'm having a heart attack. Like I could feel all this, and I'm like, oh my God, what's. And I get this message. Now we got you. Was basically what it was. And I knew that I was addicted to that stuff. I knew that that had me, right? And as I'm thinking this, that flickering over there in the corner starts up again. It's
Mm,
3 a.m. in the morning again. And just now I'm in darkness alone. And now I know that thing is here for me, right? And you want to talk about being scared. So I was in 2015, and for the next 5 years, nothing that I did would work. I mean, I would work myself to death to get out of a hole, and the second the money was in my pocket to pay back the people our money, I would drive home and either get in a car accident or pulled over. Something would happen. I would lose the car. I'd be back in the hole again. I went to jail a couple times, and it just always kept happening like that. I lost my union job. I mean, it goes on and on. So finally, it comes to December of 2019. I decide I'm going to take this stuff called Suboxone, right? To stop taking these painkillers. And I had to bring these two pieces of paper to the doctor. Um, This was on Monday morning. So Friday, before I picked my kids up for the weekend, I find the papers. I left a big pile underneath the door, right where that flickering thing came in. And I put the 2 pieces of paper I needed under a rock. And when I told my kids, I said, listen, whatever, don't touch this stuff. My kids would never do anything like that. So I know on Sunday night, when the kid's mother came to get them, and I went to bed, those 2 pieces of paper were there. Well, the Monday morning, I get up to go to the doctor, and I'm walking out the door, and the papers are gone. Right. So I'm looking around the house. I finally find them underneath the bottom of that pile of papers. They were the 2 at the very bottom, sitting underneath it. Right. And it's right underneath where that thing came out, that flickering. Right. So I knew, or at least I thought at the time, this thing is in my house. Like, it's not left. And I realized that it was this that was causing all my problems. So,
Oh, yeah. Okay.
you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, let's say now we're in March of 2020 is when my accident. And I was I was working maybe 40 minutes away, but because I didn't want to be in the house, I was also renting a bed and breakfast with a friend that I was working with down in Wildwood, down the shore. So I had worked, or no, so about a week before this accident, I had a dream where I was I didn't know I was in a cocoon. All I know is that I couldn't move, I couldn't see, but I could hear and breathe, right? I could hear a heart monitor beeping, and then I could breathe. And I just had this feeling, stay calm, right? So that's what I did, because I would get a little claustrophobic and stuff. Instead of panicking, I stayed calm. And then I went through this psychedelic tunnel. Like, it was just like, like you see in the movies, like that psychedelic wormhole.
Yeah.
And then I come out, and it was exactly like I was blooming out of a cocoon, like a butterfly. Like, I came out with my hands spread and everything, like I was able to fly. And then I went back into the cocoon, and then it kept happening over and over. And I even told a guy at work about it the next day, and he looked at me like I had an orange afro or something on my head. He looked at me like I was nuts. So about 6 days later, this is the 23rd of March, 2020, I had worked probably 12, 13-hour day, doing side jobs and my own job. And this is when COVID they were making you get off the roads at 8 o'clock. So I know that I was on the Atlantic City Expressway. I paid the $3 toll, and the guy told me I had a half hour to get off the road. So I know it was about 7:30 or so at night. It's been raining all day, dark. And it almost immediately, I'm like, I can't stay awake. I'm just like, it's impossible. So I had seen that there was a rest area about a mile up. And I was like, let's just let me get to the rest area, and I'll take a nap and forget what COVID, their problem is with that. But I never made it. So I guess what happened was I fell asleep, and I don't tell this part of the story to many people because I'm not really proud of this. But with all the problems I was having, it just I had fell asleep, and when you go across that part where the little ridges are in the road that it warns you that you're about to go off the road, I wake up. But I'd never picked my head up. My head was down, my eyes were closed, and it felt like everything had slowed down. Even though this all must have happened in like inside of 5 seconds or whatever. For me, it slowed down. And I had put my foot on the brake and started to slide. And my immediate decision was, F this. Right? Another accident, another this, another what have you. I just said F it. I took my foot off the brake. I never even picked my head up or over my eyes. And the next day I wake up in the intensive care unit with 12 broken bones and a multitude of things happening. So, and then, of course, there was somebody behind me. She saw me hit the brake and all that. So now I'm on suicide watch. I can't see for like the first 4 days because my head's so swole up. I can't look out of my eyes. So yeah. So I spent a month in the hospital. Well, I had so many doctors to go to that there was this service that picks you up and takes you back and forth to the doctors. And that was in March. So we're in the story. We're in October of 2020. I'm being driven home but from the doctor to my house, and this lady tells me that I don't ever remember seeing. She says, "You look amazing compared to what you looked like 7 months ago." Right? And I said, "Yeah, thank you." And so I tell her like a PG version of what happened in the accident. And when I'm done, I look up, and this lady is bawling out crying as she's driving. I mean, she is, there's no mistaking that this lady is not lying. Okay. And I said, "Listen, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel, bad or anything." She says, "No, you don't understand." She says, "I can see the angel that saved your life with you in the car right now." Right.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I'm like, okay. The first thing I said, because I'm a wise ass, I said, "Do me a favor and ask her why she saved me because I was all good. I was, let's
Yeah.
try this again some other time, right?" And she says, "Well, why don't you ask her yourself?" And I said, "Well, I don't know how to do that. No, I can't see her." And she says, "Well, when you go home," she says, "you stand up. You don't kneel down. You stand up and you look at the sky and you talk to it like you would anybody else. And you go out there every day and you do that until you get an answer." So, I mean to tell you, 5 minutes after I got out of that car, I'm out back talking to the sky. So, well, I did this for about a few weeks, and then just like, what? Basically, it was saying like, what more do you want to do to me? I mean, I was already, suicidal and shit. Like, is there more you can stomp more into my back? What? So, um, now comes December 20th, 2020. That was the day. Um, the only thing I ever watched on YouTube ever was music, like music videos and stuff. I play instruments, I play guitar and all that stuff. Or I used to before the accident. Um, this video pulls up for Alex Collier. I don't know if you ever heard of him.
No.
He's an Andromedan contact thief. People from
Oh,
Andromeda.
okay.
Right. So this guy's video was about 2.5 hours long. And I know that a year earlier, if I had seen this, I would have laughed my ass off for about 10 minutes, being like, who are the people that watch this? And
Yeah.
then that would have been it. But
For the
that night,
people watching, could you explain to them what the Andromedans are? They're beings, aren't they?
well, yeah, they come from the Andromedan galaxy.
And so he was channeling, is that right?
No, they actually came and picked him up. He was part, according to him, he was part Andromedan and sent here as a star
Okay.
seed.
All right,
So
continue
as a
on.
child, they would come and pick him up and take. He's really, if you ever look him up, I mean, he's really
Yeah,
famous
what
in
was
the
his name?
UFO community.
Yeah.
Alex Collier,
Okay.
Gollier.
All right.
So I watched this whole thing, and I went to bed as if I had just the most content I had ever felt. Like I took a Xanax the size of a hockey puck. It was like I was great, you know. I went to bed, and from that morning, I woke up. I'd say 12 to 16 hours a day was spent because, I'm injured and the disability stuff was spent learning all about this stuff. It was an obsession. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if I'd studied like this in high school, I'd be an astronaut and a doctor and all kinds of stuff by now.
You sound like me
So,
now.
you know?
Literally.
Yeah. So about so now we come into March. So about 4 months goes by of me watching everything I can. And at the time I was into watching things on Roswell, the dumb things people get in the beginning.
Yeah.
So around March, this is the 1 year anniversary of that accident. I start feeling like I might be crazy, like I might have hit my head, a little harder than I thought, and I might be going crazy because I've never seen, at least I thought, never seen a UFO or anything like this. So I start talking to the sky again and asking them to show me something tangible that I can believe and I can continue researching this and, you know, trying to build my consciousness. So again, for like 2, 3 weeks, I'm out there and I go out like 2, 3 in the morning looking in the sky to see if a UFO or something would, something stupid would go by and nothing. So then I started getting a video for meditation at this point. Yeah, I had no clue how to breathe, how to do none of this stuff at the time. So what I did was I didn't even have earbuds. I had a little speaker that I put next to my head and I put meditation music on. I laid down and just laid there. And I know nothing about astral projection, nothing about remote viewing, none of this stuff. Never even heard of it. And about 5 minutes into it, bam. Imagine the most vivid, clear DVD playing on the inside of your eyelids, right? And I'm looking this close to a reptilian, this crocodile man. Okay, now
Oh.
it's got the mouth of a crocodile, but it only sat about 2 inches past his nose. He's brown, and he's right here, but it's muted. I couldn't understand what he was yelling about, but I knew he was speaking English at least because at least I would assume a crocodile's mouth would go like this, right? Well, this guy's mouth curled like when a person sounds out words, their lips curl like that. It was
Yeah.
literally moving, which was to me incredible. So from there, the video pans back. I'm looking off to the left. I see that I'm in a what looks like a military type bunk, like where they put beds,
Yeah. Yeah.
like in boot camp. Imagine like a boot camp bed thing.
Yeah.
I'm in there. I can see the reptilian screaming at me as maybe a 10-year-old child. I was in a white pair of white boxers, nothing else, and this thing is in my face. I'm scared to death. And then
You're
I'm on the
sorry, I'll
floor.
just stop you just for a
Go ahead.
second. You were a child? Is that what
In
you?
in in that video that I was
Yeah.
seeing,
Okay.
it was me at maybe 10 years old, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And that thing is screaming in my face, and then I'm down on the floor being made to do push-ups, and it's right in my ear like a drill sergeant screaming at me. Well, at that point, my heart rate starts, jacked up, and I come pop right out of it. And I'm
Yeah.
laying in my bed, and I'm going, "What the hell just happened?" So instead of getting up, I remain calm and say, let's try this again. I shut my eyes, and 5 minutes, bam. Now I'm looking at a glass science beaker being filled with blood, right? Which I later learned out was adrenochrome. I don't know if you know what that is.
Yeah, I've briefly heard about this. Yeah.
Well, what they do is they scare the hell out of kids.
Yeah.
And adrenochrome is something your adrenaline puts in your blood, and then they extract the blood out of your spine and give you a spinal
Yeah.
tap, and they get high off of this. Um, that's the story. So,
So I've heard about this. So what because I've gone down the rabbit hole myself, and what I've heard,
yeah,
I don't know if the viewers will really like this or not. So we'll see how this goes. But they
yeah,
these kids would get taken on day trips, and then they would take the kids to this underground place where they would do these things to the kids. Do you know what I'm talking about?
yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently, I was one
right.
of them.
Oh, wow. Okay. Wow. So
Yeah,
it is, I'm just doing research. So you were one of those kids.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've since then, not to get off the story, but I've since had a psychic, two psychics, a Reiki master, and a channeler confirm all of this, that it was real.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
'cause I know they can implant screen memories in your brain to make you
Yeah.
think you went through something you didn't.
Yeah.
Who really knows? So anyway, that was that night, and the next night I tried again, and this time I'm laying there, and I don't have a remote. They call that remote viewing. What happened the
Yeah.
first time? Yeah,
Okay.
it's basically you can see any part of your life and others, the future, past, or future. Um,
Okay.
like it's a movie. You can actually like go around it and pause it, and if you're really
Yeah.
good at it, they say. So, all right. So the next night, I try this again, and all of a sudden, I can see with my eyes closed. Okay, I was conscious enough to know that I was still kind of awake, but in the zone.
Yeah.
Um, but I'm able. I knew my eyes were closed, and I was able, like this, like look all around the room, and everything is glowing energy. It looked like the walls and everything. If it wasn't plastic, it was glowing with life. Right?
Wow.
I
Would you
mean,
say
I'm
like
able to look around.
translucent?
It was like neon,
Yeah. Like the
and they say
Matrix?
that, yeah, basically, that's what
Yeah.
you're saying. I didn't see
Yeah.
numbers like Neo did, but
Just the
it was like
colors
that.
and yeah.
Right.
Okay.
It was a lot. So this happened for a few nights. I did this about 4 or 5 nights in a row, and I mean, I'm literally like, I put my hand in front of me like this, and I couldn't see my hand for some reason, but everything else. So what happened was I would get excited and keep coming out of this, because I couldn't maintain my calm. So finally, um, I try this after about 4 or 5 nights. I try it, and all of a sudden, there's no words in this music, but now it starts talking to me, and it starts saying, "This is levitation music," over and over. And the music, I could feel it in my bones, like it was just inside of you vibrating, you know. And all of a sudden, I could see, my eyes are shut. I could see again. I'm looking down. I start floating up about 5, 6 feet up off the bed, and then about 5, 6 feet off to the right. And then I start going up again, and I'm thinking, I'm floating, right?
Yeah.
Now my heart rate pops up again. And as slow as I popped up, I come back down, back down into my body, and I come out of it.
Can
Now,
I ask you? Oh, no, no,
yeah,
you keep going.
sure. No, go ahead.
What's it like? I have astral projected many times as a kid because now that I'm an adult, I
Oh, you
think
did?
about it and I'm like, yeah, I definitely left my body. There's no way that was a
Mm-hmm.
dream. That felt real. And yeah, just the speeds at which I was going, different, I don't know, dimensions, this place that was
Yeah.
like space or like I've been multiple places as a kid. But one time,
How did you stay calm? That's
well,
my
at the
problem.
time, I'm a kid, so
You
I'm just
didn't
having
know?
fun. I've even had a shared dream with my best friend. I come to school one day, we're riding the bus to high school, and I told her about this awesome dream. And I'm like, by the way, you were in it. She's like, get stuff. Like we had literally the same dream. I can't remember what
Really?
like now what it was because I was so young, but we had a
Right.
shared dream. We went somewhere together. So that's me believing we astral projected together, which is something you can do as
Yep.
well. But
Yep.
what I was going
I
to
was
ask
going to tell you
you,
that.
yeah, yeah, we'll get to that for sure. I wanted to know because I've astral projected recently through meditation, and you said you couldn't see your arms. What happened to me, and I wanted to verify it. I came out of my body, but I couldn't see anything, but it was like mist almost. And then when I came back because it scared me, I felt kind of disoriented. Is that
Mhm.
astral projection?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the way it's explained to me is that meditation in that it's done in a realm that's between awake and asleep.
Yeah.
So you're kind of in that zone. And yeah, when you come out of it, it's almost like a euphoric feeling.
Yeah, I
Like,
just felt kind of like I was coming out of like, when you come out of surgery and you're like, whoa, like kind of like a bit daisy, but it lasted like probably three
yeah,
seconds and then it was just like, and then I went back to sleep. But then I was like, when I
yeah.
woke up, what was that?
I know that anytime I go in to meditate where I expect something to happen, we're like, hey, let's see, nothing happens. It's only when I don't decide that, I want something to happen, just sit down, see what happens. Then things
Yeah.
happen. You know?
Yep,
So the problem
exactly.
I had was nobody I knew believed anything I said. Not my
Yeah.
parents. You know, luckily my brother did. Um, he had an experience where he woke up and he was on the ceiling, and then all of a sudden he just dropped down to his bed when he was a kid. And I never knew any of this. So
Yeah.
I tried to
Wow.
tell him, I said, if it's in me and it's in you to do this as well, it's probably in the bloodline or something. So
You've had so many experiences, right? Do you know why some people can astral project and some can't, or why some believe and some don't? I mean, it's a pretty broad
no,
question, but
I do know that they say all of us have it, but before we incarnate on this earth, we have a set of lessons that we're prepared to go through, and they purposely, to go through these lessons, take away these abilities from people. I mean, if we're all angelic to begin with, they take this stuff away so you can't rely on, your psychic abilities and
yeah,
things like this, your intuitions, and you have to just rely on yourself. And I guess that's a learning lesson of some
yeah,
sort.
that's pretty
Don't ask me
powerful in
what it is,
itself.
but
Yeah.
you know, I didn't know what was happening. It took me about 2 more months before, again, I wake up at 3 in the morning. Something happens at 3 a.m. They say the veil.
Or they say if you wake up or if you meditate from 3 or 4 a.m., that's when you get the downloads or the information that you're after
Yeah,
or something like that. Because the veil, as you said, is
right.
like thin. Yeah.
Yeah, well, what happened to me, happens a lot, is that I get my stuff from watching either like videos or television or something like that. Something will come across and I know it's a message for me, and actually, listen, I did hit my ear. Sometimes I get a little like I forget what my point was. I was just talking about.
That's okay.
That's
I
all.
do that too.
Well, no, I hit my head in that accident really bad. And from there, so I don't mean to edit that part out. Let's put it that
Yeah, that's all good.
way.
Code word is babe.
Yeah. Oh, so now I remember. I get on and I'm on like Facebook, and some guy out of the blue starts talking to me and explained everything. Like we sat and talked for like, texting each other, and um, he explained what everything was. He said, "This is a gift." I told him, I said, "Nobody believes me." He says, "Well, they're not going to, because they're not. It's not their time to awake yet, you know."
Yeah.
And he's like, what's happening to you is a gift for you, not for them. So you're really wasting your time telling them about something they'll never understand. Um, I had a channeler named Ivan Teller. He's on
YouTube.
YouTube. Yeah, he's a channeler. He channels extraterrestrials of all sorts. So you can, for like $5-10, you can ask him a question and he'll channel it back. And I asked him about um, what happened with that reptilian, and he tells me that I was taken. I was on Mars for about 10 years um, as some kind of shape shifting spot. This is what came out of that. So, and then he told me, even in past lives that I had, that I was in the secret space program, is what they call it, many past lives. So that helped out to at least let me know that I wasn't completely nuts. Um,
Mm.
so I'd say, well, I'll tell you a weird one that happened right after this. So I wasn't meditating, but all of a sudden, like whenever I start feeling tired in the middle of the day, I know something like this is going to happen. So I go lay down, and immediately when I shut my eyes, this white light is just bright white light. Like it doesn't hurt your eyes, but and you can see faces that are even brighter white, if that makes sense. You can see. So I kept seeing all these different human faces. And then all of a sudden, they turned into not human faces. These were like ET and a half. I mean, they were really out there. So I opened my eyes and stopped. I shut them, and immediately it starts again. And anything I think about, I can now immediately see the vision of it. I thought of a soccer field. I'm watching soccer. Right? So I don't know if I had slipped off or what happened, but all of a sudden I get this banging on my door, and I wake up, and here it's my dad. Jim, you gotta help me. Here, a pipe bust in the house. It wasn't even cold enough to freeze or anything. And while I'm doing that, a pipe just burst in the house. Like I was told that you're manipulating energy in a certain way when you're doing this, and somehow it came to that. A pipe just burst in the house.
Wow.
So yeah.
That's
So
amazing.
I know a psychic had told me that, she's had light bulbs explode on her, but never a pipe.
Yeah.
Um,
I've heard that
yeah.
too. I've heard some psychics
You
say that they
did?
can't wear watches. I didn't speak to them. I've just heard so much. I wouldn't say doing research. I've just been, exploring
Curious.
these realms for years now, probably 2 or 3 years. And so
Yeah.
many people who have had near-death experiences, they can no longer use electronics. They can't wear watches. They can't walk through those monitors when you go into the airport, the metal
Really?
detectors. Yeah,
Oh,
because they
wow.
just stop working. Yeah, so that's pretty
Hey.
cool. The energy field's
Yeah,
just too
that is.
big.
Yeah, that was shocking to me. Of course, nobody believes that story either, but I
Yeah.
don't know how they both happened at the exact same time
It's funny,
for
just
no reason.
reminded me my best friend who had a shared dream with me or a shared astral projection or whatever, and I was about 13, 14 at the time. I'm 31 now, so it's quite half my life away. Um,
Mhm.
she can't wear watches because they stop. And so I wonder, did she ever have like a near-death experience or yeah, interesting. I need to ask her.
You should at least, you got a channel.
We're
You can find
connected
out.
somehow. I don't know how.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, but
Okay.
I'll tell you about the coolest thing that happened. Just last July. One of the guys who I had met online, him and his wife came to my house and did Reiki on me. I went out to his house out by Pittsburgh to have a past life regression. I don't
Yeah.
know if you've had that or not.
I haven't had it, but I know exactly what it is. Yeah, I've listened to Dolores
Uh,
Cannon and yeah,
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 exactly.
right.
So, um, I go all the way out to his house, and I'm in it. He's got, he plays guitar and stuff. So we're in there, and I start feeling tired again, and I knew, something was going to happen. So
Yeah.
he tells me, he's like, maybe 20% of people can do this, and 5% of people can do what we're trying to attempt. So if it doesn't work, so we do it, and he tells me later I was the quickest person he's ever met that went into hypnosis. He said it was like a couple minutes and I'm out. So the first thing I see is my past life I had where I was a priest in Barcelona. I later found this out a few days later because that channel stays open and you keep getting downloads. That must have been my happiest life because the guy was just, he was happy. That's all I can say. So from there, he says, well, because what it is a guided meditation. So he's like, well, now this is Joe who's doing the regression. He says, now let's see a past life that has direct impact on what I'm going through now. And I see the most beautiful Indian girl. Like this is way back. I mean, they were out back when they lived in tents in the 1700s, not tents, teepees in the
Yeah,
1700s and stuff.
yeah.
So this is me. And she never had kids or anything, but I could see from there she went on to the end of her life because I have bad back issues and stuff. And this woman was hunched over like this, and with a walking cane. This is when she's old now, and I knew that she was just. It showed her. It shows pictures that you have to interpret as symbolism, and they also showed me Mother Teresa and Yoda. So apparently she was like the Mother Teresa and the wise one of that village. Okay.
Wow.
So now he guides me to her death, right? And I'm literally looking down and I can see her on the bed, like, and all these kids in there, and the lady is holding her hand and she passes away. Um, when she passed away, I was able to follow her spirit, my spirit, I should say, all the way up to wherever, up there in the, heaven or wherever you might have been. I mean, it was like going through, again, a tunnel of light. And all of a sudden, I'm looking at my guardian angel. Okay. Uh, Tells me her name was Alicia. Well, she looked like what you would imagine with the long white robe and brownish hair. Well, the second she comes down and she touches me on my shoulder, well, let's say I saw the vision of her touching me on the shoulder. Immediately, every bad thing that I ever felt guilty about or didn't feel guilty about had all rushed to the front of my, like this. And I start crying, not only in the astral, but here in reality, crying my eyes. And finally, he's like, well, what is she saying? And I said that she wants to know why I'm so sad. And she explains to me that everything that I had done was not so much as like I did it as far as it was a job I had to do. It's how it was kind of like relayed. Like I had to go through these things in order to sit here right now and like I'm doing what we're doing and try to teach other people how, you know, how to live through this type of stuff, I
Yeah.
guess. That's basically how she explained that. And then she showed where, and this will trip you out. I'll get to this part in a minute, but she showed me where it was her, my guardian angel, my mother, me, and then my daughter were in a circle like this. We were all connected in a circle. And I later found out that my mother is an aspect of that guardian angel, and so is my daughter. My mother was always the one that kept me on the road. When I started veering off, she would put me back. And my daughter was the same way from the moment she could talk. She
Yeah.
reminded me of my mother. I knew that was my mother
Yeah.
again. So they explained that. And then I was able to see, I'm looking down at that car that I was driving. And when that lady said, I see the angel,
Yeah.
I'm looking down. There's a lady. It was like the top of her car had a big hole in it where I could look through it because I'm looking down at it from the sky. And she's there. I'm in the back. And that angel is halfway in between me and behind me. Like she was inside of half of my body. Right.
Wow.
And she said that it was her. She was the one that was there. She was the one that saved me back then. And she has never not been with me my entire life. I just didn't know it. So anyway, I this is out in Pittsburgh. It's like five hour ride from where I live. So I come home the next day, and my father tells me, "Your mom was talking to your mother." This is at the same time I'm having this regression, he says, I'm talking to your mother, and she just passes out right in front of me. Like, what? She says, yeah. Listen, I said, well, what time was it? She says, 4 o'clock. I said, Dad, that was the same time I was having a regression where she was being brought up by an angel. So,
Wow.
of course, you don't believe nothing, but I go to that channeler, Ivan, again, and I asked him, and he said that, yeah, she was connecting with that with that angel. That's when he told me how she was an aspect of that angel, and that's what happened. She lost consciousness because she went into the astral realm as part
Wow.
of what I was doing. So yeah,
That's
it gets
incredible.
crazy.
That
Yeah,
entire story just ties in together.
yeah. I'm glad you sat there for the whole thing. I was hoping I get it all out to where I could just show this video to somebody. I don't have to tell this story no more.
But I do have
Oh,
some
thank you.
questions if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
so when you had the car accident, you mentioned that time slowed down. Can you tell us a bit about what you saw during that time?
I didn't see anything because my eyes were shut. Um, it just felt like I had the time to think about everything. It didn't. The lady behind me said that it looked like it. She said I was driving perfectly fine. I wasn't speeding or anything, and she said it looked like he just because what I did was I ran about 70 mile an hour into. I was on an expressway, and in the median there was this big cement thing where water drains out of it. It was a water drain. So I rode 70 mile an hour into that drain, flipped 7 times, and caught fire.
Wow.
So they kept the fire from, I guess killing me or something. But
Just
did I
those.
answer your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, you did kind of, it started cutting out, but I did get most of it. Yeah.
Oh, let me get over here. I walked away from the Wi-Fi again. I'm sorry.
You're losing the Wi-Fi particles.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, as long as my phone don't blow up like that pipe, we're good.
Yeah, right.
You
That's something else I want to ask you about. Does that
Yeah.
happen quite often for you? Like, what's some other things that have happened energy wise? Like, because you
Mm,
said you could manipulate energy. Do you intentionally do that? Or,
no, no, no. I wish it was. Actually, I don't wish. I don't know how I would handle some of this stuff.
yeah.
They say as what the point of the awakening is to expand your consciousness as far as learning more and more about the spirituality of things and the life that we can't see in front of our eyes. And
What's
can
some
you
of the
remind me what?
places that you've been to on your astral travels?
I haven't made it out of my room yet because I can't stay calm. I
Me
I
neither.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I
that's
don't know how
awesome.
people do that.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
literally, it looks like you flying. If you look
Yeah.
down, I know it's your light body, but for me, I mean, I had all the same clothes on and everything. It looked as real as like you see, and to start flying, I don't know how one stays calm. I
Yeah,
don't know
that's
how to do
right.
that.
And I
You know?
remember when I was younger, and like I said, I used to project a lot at travel. I think the reason why I was able to do it then as opposed to now is right now we've been conditioned to think that it's a fearful thing and it's scary and oh, you need to protect yourself, which you might need
Right.
to. But because there's that fear embedded in us, we don't know where we're going to end up, where we're going to go. Like, do you come back to your body? Who's out there? What's the dangers? And so, but when I was
Exactly.
a kid, I knew none of this stuff. I was out there having fun, traveling. At one stage, it was like my house, but it wasn't my house. But the house was water. There was water in the house. It was like a ocean inside my house. And I would swim
You're
to the
in the water?
fridge, get a snack, and I would swim to the couch and I'd just watch TV, all electrical. But this wasn't a dream. This was, I would have this quite often. It's like this is the place I would go to. And it's and I think of it now,
Really?
I'm like, where was that? If anyone knows this place, comment below, or if you've ever astral traveled to these places, let us know and help us out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I would say this now. I mean, if anybody is hearing this and they have anything, the insight that they can tell me about anything that happened, I would love to hear it. You know,
Yeah,
I can't
definitely.
explain everything that happened either. You know,
Yeah. And
but
sometimes it's,
yeah,
I mean, sometimes it's not as important as being able to explain everything, but just know that everybody has their own journey and everybody should explore themselves more and kind of get to know who they are and what their purpose is and
right.
find out and explore for yourself, right?
That is the point of this. Is um, the main part that I learned is that we are the answers to our problems.
Yeah.
Um, when I went to other people for reassurance that these things happen, that's one thing. But basically, like you had said, you meditate on something, or you do like that lady told me, and just start talking to the sky. You don't get down and beg when like the church tells you to get on your knees.
Mm,
You don't do that. You stand up like you're a human being. You
mm.
deserve it of respect. So
Get
that's
up
what you
and talk
show
to the
them.
sky, right?
Get up and talk to the sky. I mean, I think that things like school, when we go to school and adults get to us and we learn all, and we lose that magic like you had, you know. And
Yeah.
I know things like fluoride, they tell you fluoride's in your toothpaste and all that. That's
Mm.
also kept there to keep us from, are you
From
there? Yep, there
ascending,
you go.
yeah.
Right. That's the whole point, is, and that's why in this world nothing is ever right. Nothing is, we are turning attention on what you get blasted with is fear,
Yeah.
and these energies feed off. That's what keeps alive. And that's why you can never turn on the news and be happy. You can't read a paper and be happy about what's going on, because it's all they broadcast is the worst of the worst, and that's
Yeah,
the reason
and
behind it.
that's why I don't watch the news anymore. I don't even really
No,
turn the TV on. I just continue on with YouTube and talk to people like you all the time and just
there
I
you
just
go.
focus on what's happening in my world and not try to focus too much on the negative stuff because
Yeah.
yeah, it's not good.
See, I did all that.
Mm.
I was one of them idiots. Thought, I was never one of these Trump lovers. Matter of fact, I didn't like the guy at all. But um, I used to say, oh well, the Democrats can, and neither one of them are trying to fix anything. They're
All
both
right.
opposite hands of the same monster. You know what I mean? You
Yes.
vote for, either one, you lose. you
Right.
know.
And all you have to do
So
is go back in history to see this person didn't work out, that person didn't work out. Nothing seems to be working out. I'm just going to figure it out on my own. I'm going to build my own garden over here, going to build my own little
that's right.
community and just do some spiritual work. You know what I mean? I'm going to get my shit together. Don't know about you guys.
That's
Yeah.
and what you're saying is exactly what everybody should be doing. If
Yeah.
you want to be a part of this, that
Yeah.
you are the answers. And that was the one of the best things I had learned through going to other people, having Reiki sessions and all this other stuff, was that it solidified that the things I was intuitively believing in were right for the most part.
Yeah.
95% of everything that I felt was real. it was the truth, I should say.
So if I
You know,
asked you
and I
what would your message be to us with where you're at on your journey now, what's a takeaway that you could give us?
well, I'd say meditation, learning how to meditate the proper way. That really is the best thing that anybody can do because, like I said, when you do it, you don't go in expecting anything. Even in the past life regression, don't expect anything. You're going to be shown what you need to see.
Mm,
What your higher self determines that is important for you to see now. You will. And if you go in expecting things to happen, you go in demanding, hey, listen, look at this, you're getting shut off right then and there. So
yeah.
I would say just the main thing people should have is an open mind to know that we have been lied to our entire lives about history, about science, about all this stuff in an attempt to keep us in this container so that we don't spread our wings and fly, you know, so to
Yeah.
speak, metaphorically, right? And literally for some of us, right?
Yeah.
So, um, I would say that's the best thing to be is to understand that you don't know anything. You know, the
Yeah.
things you thought were facts were are not. Your main thing is to not understand. And Alex Collier said this. He says, "Don't think of what you think is the truth, but how you feel is the truth. Why you think it's the truth, not what you
Yeah.
think, but why you think that way."
The way you
Is
feel,
how I
yeah.
explain that. Right. And that in the pit of your stomach or in your heart, whatever you want to say, is the right, path to go on, I think. You know,
Yeah.
your heart won't lie to you.
Yeah,
And
that's
like
true.
you had said earlier about what you were saying about your higher self, you were able to hear those conversations. That's another big thing because I know that now. Oh, I did want to tell you one story. I know that now I can have that interaction where I know I'm asking a question and then it comes to me in a non-biased, impartial way. I get an answer. Like immediately, like I'm talking to myself, but it's not me. I know it's
Yeah.
not because I didn't know the answer. So
Okay.
here's here's okay. So after I get back from that mind regression or the past life regression, um, I was saying for like about 4 or 5 days, I kept getting these downloads of stuff. I just had these feelings, and I knew they were right. Well, I'm in my room, and I'm thinking about my guardian angel stuff and how they're always there. They see everything. Whatever you do, they see it. So I start thinking and this is in my head. I'm going, well, what happens if you're like in the shower and with your
Yeah.
significant other, right? So I says, yeah, they take a break from that, right? I was certain this is right, right? About a minute later, it was like this a girl's voice whispered in my ear, "We see everything." That,
Oh, no.
yeah, hand
La
of
la
God,
la
I
la
will
la
tell
la
you.
la la la.
Yeah, we see everything. And I'm like, oh Lord, I
But I
can't
mean,
imagine you
they
guys.
don't perceive things the way we do, right? So we're thinking, oh, they're just seeing what we're doing. We're like, when we're making love or we're having a shower or whatever. It's like, but they don't see it that way, right? They're probably like, oh, go, you guys. Oh, like, yeah, I don't know. Yep, he's keeping clean. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I was like, why would they want to see that?
Yeah.
That I swear to you, whisper right in the right ear. We see everything.
I have
Ah, damn it.
something that I want to say to you, actually.
Yeah,
What
absolutely.
is it? And I don't know if you guys watching have this experience, but when I have a shower and I wipe my makeup off or wash my face, I get terrified. I feel like something's there. I'm like, is there like, and I have to like I almost get sore eyes because I get soap stuck because I'm rushing for the towel to like wash the soap off because I need to see if something's there. I get terrified. And it's every time I'm in the shower and wash my face, every time.
Really?
And yeah, like I feel like there's like this being watching me or something, or like there's something there. And like I can almost feel a presence and it's all the time. So I don't know. Have you ever had anything like that? Or
No,
let me
I
also
can't
preface,
remember.
I'm scared of the dark. I'm 31 and I hate the
Yeah,
dark. I always have a nightlight on. I feel energies. I'm like, I don't know what it is. I can tell if there's like a bad presence or a good presence. And I don't know what this means. I'm learning, but yeah.
I imagine, like you said, you can feel that negative energy. I imagine
Yeah.
it's probably really there, you know. I
Yeah.
think if you feel it's there, then it is there,
Yeah, that's right.
you
And I've
know.
had it my whole life. And it's
Really?
always when I'm like, yeah, and sometimes even when I meditate, I'm like, okay, I don't want to close my eyes right now because I feel like there's something going on. Maybe I need to protect myself. So I'll imagine like a blue light, like a protective light, and then like
Yeah,
I'll breathe in and out.
golden light.
Yeah, a golden light. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. They
Yeah.
say to imagine you're in a ball of golden light.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
yeah, they can't. I know that uh sometimes that stuff gets attracted for me. It got attracted when I was living a negative life. You know, my
Mm.
mind, everything I was thinking about was negative, so I was attracting that. And
Yeah.
when you switch over to a positive way of life, you will attract that as well. That's probably why back then I attracted that negative shadow, whatever that was.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah,
and
because I
then when
knew
I
straight
stopped
away what you were
taking,
talking about when you talked
oh,
about
you
that
did?
shadow. Because I was like, okay, that reminds me of when I'm like in the shower washing my face and I feel this dark presence. I'm like, oh, like, ew, what is
Yeah,
that? Like not good. Yeah.
yeah. I don't know what that is. I just knew it was bad. I
Yeah.
knew, and it did not let up. It took me going to an actual psychic to get rid of that. What happened was when I started meditating, right around that part where I was meditating, I was also putting like little like spiritual stuff on my Facebook page at the time, people, stuff about meditation, spirituality. And all of a sudden I was painting a lot and I painted this, what turned out to be a pentagram with a goat's head with that upside down
Oh,
pentagram.
yeah. Yeah.
And it was the nicest painting I've ever painted. You know what I mean?
Wow.
I was like, and it turns out, so a site I put it on there, and it's this girl I didn't know I went to high school with. Turns out that she was psychic her whole life, and she explains about the awakening, what I'm going through, and that the negative beings are trying to attach themselves to you now to try to take you to the negative side, while they still have a
Wow.
chance instead of the positive. So what she did was something called a clearing. Okay, you basically imagine through your chakras, you imagine an infinity sign going through each chakra up to heaven, down to the center of the earth. And you do that for each chakra. And then you imagine all the negative energy, all the negative stuff that you could think about. You put it into a ball, and then you float that ball up and you explode it. Okay. Just
Wow.
imagine all this. Okay.
Yeah.
So we do this. And she's like, immediately, she's like, all right, now go to bed. She hangs up. Okay. I'm like, okay. The next morning, and at this point, I hadn't drank in a good year. I was so hung over. It felt like I had a wrestling match with the biggest bottle of vodka I've ever met. I was
Wow.
hung over like you can't imagine. And it went all the way until about 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I started feeling a little bit better. And she calls me back, that psychic. And she says, well, how do you feel? And I tell her. And she goes, yeah, I don't mean to scare you. She says that I don't mean to scare you, but that thing was in you for a long time. And trying to get rid of it. She goes,
Yeah.
I was now at this point, I feel okay, right? I don't
Mm.
feel hungover or nothing anymore. And she says, well, you don't need me to do this now. She says, you can do it yourself. Just imagine that, you know. So at this point, I feel fine. I go inside and get that painting. I come out and I go through the whole infinity chakra. I put all that negative energy into that painting. Then I lit it on fire. And immediately I was hungover again. So
Wow.
this thing did not want to leave.
Yeah.
And it took a while. It's at the point now where I've had the Reiki, the, the channeler and all, and him, or the psychic, telling me that they have it entrapped in some kind of, what they call a Merkaba or something like that. It's like
Yeah,
an
Merkaba.
two pyramids upside down
Yeah, and they
inside each
spin
other.
opposite.
Right, and that's
Yeah.
supposed to trap them. But they say until you get rid of like your deep-seated demons, it's always going to be there. Like if I ever
Mm.
went back to drinking or whatever else, that thing would just come right back. It's
Yeah,
not like
just
it's
stay in
permanently
light.
gone.
Mm.
Right. That's how that was explained to me. So
Yeah. Well, thanks for sharing because there's some people out there who really need help, who really want to know about this. And it,
yeah, I can imagine. I know how I felt 2 years ago, or
yeah,
yeah, well, a year ago, I should say, 2 years, year and a half ago. You're doing you're doing God's work, as far
yeah,
as I'm concerned. I I honestly tell you, I don't I feel like I owe it to give back to the people that need help, because this is
yeah.
exactly how I was helped. I don't know where I would be right now if I did not have um, these people like yourself making these videos.
Right.
The world does not understand this. There's probably, 5% of the actual world would even believe anything
Yeah.
that I said. You know what I mean? They wouldn't even accept that it's even possible. I am 100% more compassionate and understanding of other people's, almost no matter what they do. There's certain things that you'll never get, but I'm a lot more understanding that, these people just had a different path that they had to do, a
Yeah.
different job. My job was to do this, their job to do that, and neither one of them are better than the other,
Yeah.
you know. Even negativity in this world is not better or worse than positivity.
Mm.
You live in a duality with both negative and
Yeah.
positive in everything. I
It's just
mean,
how you
love
perceive it,
has
right?
fear, right?
Yeah.
And neither one. And to understand something like love, to
Mm.
genuinely understand it, you have to know what fear is like. You have to understand fear and depression and things like that to
Yeah.
understand the full encompassing of what love is,
Yeah.
you know. So
Gosh, that's so
I think the
deep and so true.
people that try to avoid things like this, people that they put it over here and they act like it's not there. They avoid this. Well,
Yeah.
all that's going to do is keep it in your face. It's going to keep coming
Yeah.
back until you face that
Yeah,
fear,
you
whatever it may
face it,
be.
right? Yeah.
Right. So, and there's another one if you want to let people know that one.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
probably a big one there. Is facing your fear, which is, like for you with that's something you went through your whole life, being afraid of the dark, and it's
Mm.
persisted probably because you avoided it or you feared it,
Yeah.
you
Mm.
know.
Do you
And
know
when
what
you
I should do?
finally,
Oh, you keep going. I'll
yeah,
tell you what I should do
no, no, go
afterwards.
ahead.
Have you heard of the dark rooms where people can go
Dark,
and they're called dark rooms and you meditate in the dark room for like 24
I did.
hours? Yeah,
I've never
that's
done it,
something
but
that
I
I
heard
should
about it.
try. Yeah. And it's not because it's like meditating while meditating in a way, because when you close your eyes, it's dark, right? So you meditate in the dark space so that all you
Yeah,
can do is meditate and listen to your thoughts and what's really going on, because that's all you can focus on. So it really does something to the soul, to like on a deep
yeah.
level. If you can get through that, yeah,
I've heard of it. I never
yeah.
did it, but I
Mm.
know the Indians used to do something sort of like that, where they would, I saw it in somewhere, but they would like make a circle and they would stay there for like 4 days without food or water and just
Yeah,
meditate on something. And you literally have to bring yourself close to death in order to see some of these things, which is
yeah,
what they're trying to do by, not having food or water for 4 days, and then you'll get visions of things. And I expect, or I assume that um whatever happened in my car accident was the same thing,
yeah,
like getting
definitely.
close to death, had it had opened up all this stuff that I had never thought about. But to
Mm.
get to that point, I didn't want to be here anymore. I mean, this was I would never want to go through what I just went through them years. But again, because I don't think I would make it. But
Do you
I
think
think
that
that
if
that's
you
life.
didn't go through that, you wouldn't know what you know now?
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. I'm glad that it's not totally over, but um, I'm glad I have some understanding and something that I can, something that interests me, like with you, this interests the hell out of me to where all day I
Yeah.
don't watch television. I
Yeah.
I I do this, and I go through like a month or so where I stop, or like it just gets where I need a break, and
Yeah,
then I come
same.
right back
Yeah.
to it.
Yep. You
Yeah,
got to
you do that.
recalibrate. Yeah. Yeah. You got to take
Yeah,
time off, because the world around you is not doing that. And so when
right.
you leave or when you go do your normal things, it starts to get a little confusing and a little weird, and you feel a bit out of place. And so you're like, oh, I just need to just stop for a second and like ground myself or something, and yeah, you know,
Yeah, you have to come back to reality for a little
yeah,
while.
yeah,
You know, it does get overwhelming, and but
yeah.
it's definitely something I would never want to go back to the old way of life. I mean, because
No,
it's just
never,
bullshit.
right? You just can't
You know,
unlearn
one
what
big
you know.
lie. Right.
Yeah, everything's a big
Yeah,
lie.
it
Yeah.
is. I mean, it's amazing when. I mean, I could go on for about 5 years
I know,
telling you
me
all the
too,
things.
right? And it's almost like I know
You know,
exactly what you're gonna say. Like we've got this
yeah.
telepathy thing going on. Like I know, yeah, I know what you're talking about.
What
Yeah, I got it.
what's
Yep.
what's understood need not be discussed.
Yeah, might as well just stare at each other because we totally get it. Like, yeah, no, I could do this, forever and ever, but it's just the best thing to talk about. It's like we're learning truth for the first time. Why would you not
Does
want
your
to know
husband
about that?
understand?
He listens to me, but he doesn't fully grasp it. He's nowhere near me on my journey at all. Like
Right.
he'll listen to me, and the way that I tell him, like the way I'm talking to you, I'll still talk to him this way. I'm like, how do you not know? And like I think that because of my personality and my giddiness, he sees that I'm telling the truth, and he's like, okay, there's something going on here, and he sees changes in me, and so he knows this, like he's going on his journey his different way,
Yeah.
but he doesn't get into it like I do, which
Right. It's
kind
just
of
not
which
his time.
sucks, but I get to talk to people all the time about it, so I'm cool. He grounds me in a way. He's like my break, right? So
Right. Yeah, yeah. It keeps you in reality. You gotta keep they say you keep one foot in this dimension and one in the next,
yeah,
wherever you're going, you know,
yeah, I've always
if
got my
you're
eyes wide
trying to
open.
right. Well, that's awesome. I mean, just the
Yeah.
fact that you'd be open minded to all this is the biggest hurdle I think anybody has to get over
Mm.
is that knowing that you've been lied to and that you need to take everything and put it over here and start over. You
Yeah.
know, like the same thing with government, I believe needs to just start over where I don't think we need them
Yeah.
anymore.
We
You look in
don't need
America, I
them.
mean, nah, we got an 82-year-old. as a president.
Who, by the
Think
way, ain't
about that.
making a lot of sense.
No.
What is this? What is going on there?
What what 82-year-old needs to be in that position to begin with? Don't you want to
Yeah.
retire? Don't you care about like
Why
they
do they
should tell
never
you
have
about
young presidents? What's that? What's the deal with
uh,
that? Like,
the last one they had that was young, they killed him.
yeah, was that
Kennedy.
JF Kennedy, was it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Because he wanted to,
I guess
he was like us. He wanted to know the truth, what's going
that's
on.
right. Yeah,
And they're like,
that's
yeah,
that's
well, we
what I
can't
came to
have
find
that.
out. I
Yeah.
came to find out they got rid of him because um he wanted to work with the Russians, not only get to the moon, but to tell the public about what's really going on with secret societies and things like
Yeah.
this, you know. And the secret society didn't think that that was worth
Mm,
letting out of the bag at the time. So,
yeah,
but who knows? I mean, I've heard 1,000 different
I
reasons why
know.
things happen, but
Yeah.
that's one more lie, you know.
Yeah. One more amongst many.
Right? Yeah. So hey, listen, I'll let you go. I don't want to take up your whole day here, but it's been great. It's
Yeah, it really
great
has. We have
talking
to
to you,
do this
meeting you, and
again,
finally,
even if just off record, because this has just been good. Like, you can tell me what you know, I'll tell you what I know. Like, I'm always here to talk. I love learning.
yeah,
If you find anything else and you need someone to talk to, just jump on Messenger. I'll be there when I
awesome.
can. If I'm
Thank you.
not, I'll be there
Yeah,
at some point.
no, I
But
understand. I appreciate that. Yeah, likewise, if there's anything, just let me know. But
yeah,
I appreciate everything you've done, and yeah, I just want to thank you
yeah,
from the
and thank
bottom of my
you.
heart. Thank you.
Oh, and thank you. Thank you for sharing all your stories because I know it's not easy and I know, you fear people won't listen or understand, but we know
Um, I'm kind of past that now. I know what I know. I know it's true. I actually
oh,
told my
perfect.
doctor. I told my doctor about this stuff. And I says, you know something? I says, what I'm saying right now will probably get me put in a padded room. I said, but I'm looking at you and I pity you. She's looking at me. I was like, because you can't do any of it. I says,
Yeah.
you don't even think it's possible, much less can you do it.
Yeah.
And you know, you can, as a doctor, you can look down on me because I'm not educated like you, but I think that your education only served to take you further away from your own truth. It
Yeah.
it
I
filled you with
totally get
lies.
that. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it did. Your education hurt you
Mm.
because you were educated by, blatant lies.
Do you know what I love? And it sounds a little bit crazy, but when, doctors or physicians or scientists have near-death experiences and then they themselves have an awakening from it, or they don't even have to necessarily die to have it, but you could just have an awakening just hit you in the face. And I'm like, thank you for choosing that guy. And thank you for telling that guy because now he knows what we're talking about and we're not crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
I love that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. They should be awakening a whole lot more people like that. Because as far as I can see, it's just really just average people that, like myself, that are awake. And some of these
Yeah.
politicians and what have you, like, if they are awake, they'd be too scared of losing their job to speak on stuff like this.
Yeah.
Like if a doctor came on here and said the things I was saying, he probably loses his medical license,
Yeah. It's not fair, is
you
it?
know? Right.
Yeah.
It's not. Well, I mean, I don't, let me ask you this. Um, has your diet changed a lot? Like the things
Oh,
you
look,
eat?
I went vegan for like 3 years. I'm not vegan right now because after my daughter, I lost a lot of blood and then I had to reincorporate meat and stuff like that. But like, yeah, I went vegan. I tried all these different diets to get closer to my energy self or what, like you've probably heard
Yeah.
about all of that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I've done all that. I've fasted. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've
I,
tried
I've
a lot.
I've gained 50 pounds since this. 50 pounds, and I can't drink milk anymore. I can't eat anything that's processed because I'll just a few hours later I'll go to bed and wake up sick. Like
Yeah.
just,
No, I
you
find that
know,
I do get run down and I do get sick quite easily. And I think it's because I need to learn how to ground and not take on other energies, because I feel like the more spiritually awakened I am, the more I see and the more drained I get, and the more yeah, I don't know. It's a weird thing. It's funny you mentioned that. And I sleep
Yeah.
a lot
Well,
more too. I'm always tired. I go through bouts of depression, and I don't
right.
understand that, but I know that it's part of a spiritually awakened stage. Um, yeah, there's so much going on there with the body that's just like, and these frequencies. I
Yeah.
get this. They talk about this high ringing pitch in your ear. I've been getting that
Huh?
on and off, and these ascension
Oh,
symptoms. I get them all the time, right when people are
that
talking about them.
they
So, like,
say
what is
that
that?
that ringing in your ear, when it's a ringing sound, that's a as a message is coming to you from a positive being. And then when it sounds more like you got water in your ear, that's from a negative being.
Oh, I don't get that. No, never that. Well, that's good,
Yeah,
I
there's like
guess.
there's different tones to that. But
Yeah.
that's what I heard, is that, which could be your, again, your higher self trying to, or your guardian angel, somebody trying to give a download to you.
And I
That's
know
what
it's
that.
probably cliche when they talk about the numbers, but oh man, on a daily 11, 11, number plates 555,
Yeah,
222, 444, 333. And I'm like, what was I thinking at that moment of this part of the day? And 10 minutes later,
yeah,
I'm seeing three cars in a row, and there's all these three digits or double digit numbers. And I'm talking to my husband. I'm like, are you seeing this? Because this is all the time. Or these occurrences would happen, good positive things, like someone paid for my coffee and then this person got out the way so I could finally make it onto the highway just in time where I wouldn't have made it, or like it just goes on and on and on and on, and I'm like, okay, I'm something good's happened today. I'm right where I need to be, like, yeah.
yeah. Can't complain about it because it won't keep happening.
It's when you
I think,
notice it. Hey, when you
yeah,
notice the numbers, the vibration, good
I
things
have that.
happen.
I have the words spiritual significance of in my phone. So whenever I see 111 or whatever, I always put those numbers in there to find out what angelic message is coming through that. Because I
Yeah.
would see that same stuff as well. 111 is a manifestation number. I painted a big thing that says 111 with an infinity sign behind it. And what I do is I focus on that painting and think about the things I would like to change and manifest in my life.
Ooh, that's got
And
to be another podcast for sure. We'd have to get you back
yeah,
on and talk about that. Yeah.
yeah. All right. Yeah, it was like I said, we're gonna keep talking for about 5 hours.
Yeah,
And just
we've got
don't
to put a stop to it, because I just don't think we'll stop
okay,
talking.
yeah. But like
But
I said, now it is spectacular meeting, and let's keep in touch. Don't
yeah.
forget about it.
All right.
All
And
right.
you too. Well, thank you so much.